The Good Things. I'm your host, Rebecca Turner. Now, don't forget, you can listen to Good Things. We are streaming live over at supertalk.fm. We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. You can watch us, too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And calling all creative writers, Belhaven University is offering aspiring writers a full ride scholarship. This is such a good thing. Joining us today in the studio is Belhaven Creative Writing Chair, Dr. Randall Smith, and Imani. She is the first winner of the Angie Thomas Writers Scholarship, and she's back to encourage you to apply. So welcome.
Thank
It's
you,
good
Rebecca.
to have y'all back. Okay, Imani, we were talking. I walked out and I was like, hey, I'm Rebecca. I was like, wait, we've met. So I guess it's been a couple of years, though. So Dr. Smith, how many years has it been that Belhaven has been offering this Angie Thomas Scholarship?
So we began offering the scholarship in the fall of 2020. That's when we had the first recipient, and of course that was Imani Skipwith.
So that had to be, okay, now we're 5 years into it. Well, welcome back, girl.
Thank you.
What you been doing since you took advantage of the scholarship?
Well, after I graduated, I took about a semester off. I started working, not started working, but I was continuing work. And then I applied to Jackson State University. I heard a lot of great things about the program, and I heard a lot of great things about the professors. And so I applied and I got in, and so now I am currently pursuing a master's in English.
Congratulations. Ms. Dr. Smith, you were just smiling and beaming.
I know.
So when students take advantage and then they keep going. Yeah,
that's right. It's one of the great joys of what I get to do. I just love to work with creative, smart people. And, you know, Imani's a great example of that. Just a person that's fun and interesting to be around. And I love to see them go on from Belhaven and do other things and just keep moving in life.
So let's go back to, I don't want to go back to 2020. It's the words are coming out of my mouth like nobody wants to go back. Nobody. Okay, but in perspective of the Angie Thomas Writers Scholarship, what brought that about there at Belhaven? I mean, you can explain a little who Angie Thomas is if folks listening may not recognize her work. It's been 5 years, but she's still absolutely killing it in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
But what was the perfect kind of storm or recipe for the scholarship to be made possible?
So Angie Thomas came to Belhaven as a student in the creative writing program in the fall of 2009 and graduated in 2011. And she worked on fiction for her senior creative project while she was there. And that fiction, those short stories, ultimately became The Hate U Give, which was, you know, a fantastic novel, New York Times best-selling book, #1 for just, I think, about 2 years almost on the New York Times bestseller list.
She got famous overnight.
She did, and it came out as a movie. I mean, really just upended the world of publishing and reading and brought many, many new young readers to bookstores and to books and novels, and that's been fabulous. And so what we wanted to do at Belhaven was somehow honor Angie, have a scholarship that would continue to encourage young writers from all over the country come to Belhaven and just continue to have the opportunity to study. And so we came up with the idea of a 4-year full ride scholarship. I mean, it pays for everything. It pays for tuition, books, room, board. I mean, hopefully the students have nothing out of pocket unless they're buying a soda in the soda machine. So that's
no excuses.
No excuses, right. Now, there's one of those full ride scholarships, but every single student accepted every year gets some amount of scholarship money. So if you're accepted, the promise from Belhaven is we're going to support you and help you be there.
So, Imani, how did you hear about the scholarship there at Belhaven?
Well, I actually heard through, I don't remember if were you there? Mississippi School of the Arts.
I wasn't.
I graduated from Mississippi School of the Arts. So we would have a college fair, essentially. And Belhaven sent in materials or they were there. It's been a while, so I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember hearing about the scholarship there, and then my family members had heard about it as well, and they were like, "You love to write. Why don't you just try it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know if I can do this." And they just encouraged me to apply, so I did.
I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly.
They say no. I mean, obviously it's your time invested, but it would be an experience anyway. Do you remember, Dr. Smith, since it's been about 6 years ago, when her submission came through, Imani's?
Oh, I do. Yeah. I mean, I distinctly
Maybe we should
remember.
tell people what the submission is. How do you apply for the scholarship?
So it's the deadline for this year is November the 14th. Students they can Google Angie Thomas Scholarship, and it'll go right to the Belhaven Creative Writing page that has the information on that. The portfolio is 12 to 15 pages of what a student thinks is their best writing, what they're most excited about. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want something a writer's passionate about. And then a 3-page essay where the applicant talks about their community and the way their community has shaped them as a person and as a writer. And that's partly in honor of Angie, too, because her community here in Jackson is so important to her and so influential for the things she went on to write. So the whole application and the scholarship are just trying to honor Angie and some of the work she's done.
So, and that hasn't changed over the last. So,
Same.
Imani, for you pulling together, and your family knew that you were writing. Were you primarily a writer? Because I know Mississippi School of the Art, that a lot of different modalities, whether it's painting, drawing, all that. So, was writing always been your kind of creative outlet?
Yes. I started writing in elementary school. I was, as soon as I was able to form words and try to sound out syllables, my grandmother made sure that she taught me how to read. She taught me my phonics and everything. So literature has been a very prominent part of my life. So I've been writing since as long as I can remember.
What is your topics that you enjoy writing about? Like, you don't have to tell us all the headlines in your 12 to or however many, but what gets you going?
Well, right now, a big topic that I've been writing about is I've been writing a lot about mental health. It has been a very important topic, especially since 2020.
Amen.
Because of, everyone's being at home and there's not really much interaction, and a lot of people's mental health declined, unfortunately. And within my community, the community that I grew up in, there wasn't a lot of language on what mental health looked like for us. And that has been a big part of my journey in life as well, is just learning what the mental health journey looks like specifically for people who look like me. And so I write about my experience, and I write about the experiences of people that I've met and, that I've witnessed. And I try to be a voice for people who are not able to really put into words their experience. So that's one of the big things that I've been focused on recently.
So what stood out with Imani's work, Dr. Smith, when she submitted hers, I guess that first year? How many do y'all normally get that submit? I'm sure it's increased over the years as the word gets out, but how many people are applying for this scholarship? Ish.
Usually probably 15 to 16, 17 different students applying. That's one thing. It's one reason I'm glad to be on the show today to talk about this.
Yeah, more need to do that.
I would love to have twice that many students applying.
I think you would if more people recognize, especially when you say full ride. We're not talking about
yeah. And I know there are certainly people, adults in the listening audience, who know a young person in high school who loves to write. If they would just pass that word along and tell them, hey, look, here's a chance for
could be
full
for an
writing.
incoming freshman too. So
it is.
Okay. Yeah. So and I think that's I think I knew that, but I think we need to underscore that because it also sounds like this would be mature writing, and it may be left for your sophomores, juniors, or seniors. But no, we want the babies.
We do. Yeah. We want students graduating right out of high school, and that's almost all of the. Almost all of our applicants every year are first-year college students who are coming right out of high school, coming to Belhaven. Yeah.
Well, and that's such a good opportunity. Did you look at this too, Imani, when your family was encouraging you to apply for the scholarship as an opportunity to go? Was the full ride like the carrot that got you to submit?
Yes, absolutely. And it just...
She's like, what a question was that, woman?
It made so much sense, especially I would like to say that I always I try to help my mother out as much as I can, and I jumped on it. I was
Honey,
like,
getting me a full ride scholarship will help any mama out. I can guarantee you that. Well, we want to continue our conversation with Dr. Smith and writer Imani. Radio station. You can watch us too. We are on that computer or mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. We are continuing our conversation with Belhaven Creative Writing Chair, Dr. Randall Smith, and we have the first scholarship recipient of the Angie Thomas Writers Scholarship there at Belhaven, Miss Imani Skipwith. Did I get the last name right?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Imani. Okay, and it's up. So before we get lost in some of the other conversation, Dr. Smith, when is the final for the deadline for this year's scholarship?
November the 14th. That's the day that the applications and portfolios are due, and there are directions online for how to turn those in on the Belhaven site. And then we're going to announce the winners, including the scholarship winner, on December the 15th. So just a month later, students will know.
And this is for incoming freshmen, so all of the parents, grandparents that are listening, or guardians or aunts or uncles who know they've got those creatives that are in their senior year, this is who we're sort of looking to. And even if you've got your creatives in your junior year as well, to start thinking about next year,
Sure,
I would think would be a good thing, because it's a full ride scholarship, which is a big deal. I want to talk about just creative writing, though, Dr. Smith. Once they got it, everyone listening is getting the scholarship, not really, but believe in it, right?
Yeah.
But if they come to Belhaven, they get the scholarship, and then they start this journey down in a career path of education with creative writing. How do you describe that to parents? Like, what's happening there in terms of education?
Yeah. So it's really one of the I think easiest ways to describe the curriculum. It's about a 60-hour curriculum, and that's typical for a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Belhaven has one of the few Bachelor of Fine Arts in creative writing in the whole country. I think there are maybe 30 total undergrad level. But the curriculum's divided into 3 parts. So a third of it will be creative writing workshops. So that's going to be short fiction, long fiction, poetry, creative nonfiction. We even do speculative fiction for students who write fantasy and other kinds of tales like that. Then a third of it's going to be literature. It's very important to read if you're a writer. And then a third of it is all applied coursework. And that's where students take courses in things like film or graphic design or intercultural studies or business or anything that gives them an applied skill where they can use their writing ability. Because it's very important to us to prepare students who get out and are qualified to go into the world of work. It's not just creative writing the whole time, but that's a very important part, a significant part of what they're doing. But we do want them to be ready to work.
And there's so many jobs that need creative thinkers.
Yes.
And it may not say need creative writer,
yes,
or creative thinker, but you have the skills to really thrive in certain scenarios, I would say. Okay, Imani, when I was hearing one of the first thirds or the second thirds, not the real world application, like the challenging your writing, which part like you thrived in, and then which part were you like, oh, this is like pulling teeth for me as a creative?
I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed everything equally. I think what really got me was more so balancing everything, because you're trying to do your creative endeavors and also stay on top of assignments and whatnot. But other than that, I pretty much enjoyed everything that they offered.
Well, you can enjoy it, but I would say some lean more towards others. Do you like poetry better, short story better?
I see. Well, as a poet originally, I'm always going to love poetry. I'm always going to take the poetry workshop classes. But I will say during undergrad, I knew that short fiction was something that I needed to develop more. So I took a lot of short fiction classes so that I could build more of a fiction voice rather than a poetic voice.
Which I think the two would probably complement each other very well. And Dr. Smith, you're a poet.
Yes.
I was going to say poet didn't know it, but you knew it. But I didn't necessarily know it. But shame on me. Of course, you got into creative writing there at Belhaven for a love of it. So give us a little background on maybe your road to here.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like getting to design and develop the program over the last 25 years, because I had the opportunity to start the program at Belhaven back in 2001. So I've been working at this a long time. I feel like it's a little bit of wish fulfillment in my own life because I grew up on a farm in Georgia. No one in my family had ever gone to college. My parents were wonderful. My mom was a beautician. My dad was a postal mail carrier. But, I just went off to college and didn't really know what to study, and I ended up majoring in business. But what I really loved was to read and write. And so eventually, when I got out of undergrad the first time, I was like, you know what? I worked for a while with a bank, and then I was like, I really want to go back and study creative writing in English. And so that's what I did and got my PhD. And I've always loved to write poetry. I mean, from a little kid, I can remember I got Robert Louis Stevenson's A Child's Garden of Verses. It was the first thing I ever bought with my own money. And I started trying to copy the poems out of there and just figure out how I could write a poem like that too.
How can parents listening encourage kids who seem early on to take interest to reading or writing? Because I feel like there's like so many other things. Once we get hit by the real world, and you may become a great banker or lawyer or something that's not, creative in that way. But I feel like if you have that love of literature, creative writing, it's a hobby, routine, skill, outlet that you can keep forever if you keep it or go back to it. So I guess regardless of where they end up, how can parents or guardians help cultivate that in children?
Well, I know as a parent, when I was parenting my young kids, one of the things I did was just to watch them, to give them a chance to try lots of different things, but also watch them for what they were just passionately, inherently, innately interested in themselves. My daughter was 3 and trying to do handstands in the den. Of course, she became a competitive cheerleader at some point in her life. My son was just always interested in other people and interested in their emotional and spiritual health. Of course, he's becoming a pastor now. So pay attention to what kids do young and early and try to encourage that. And when you have a child that writes and reads and just does that relentlessly, pay attention to that too, because every gift like that, like all those I named, are, I think, gifts from God. And there will be a use for that in the world somewhere. And that's where Belhaven wants to come alongside your child and help them figure out how to grow and use that skill and ability somewhere.
Well answered. Imani, obviously your grandmother, a huge piece to the puzzle for you to get this. But did the rest of your family recognize, okay, she's really got her head in a book in a good way, and she's got her pen to the paper? Did you continue to get encouragement from them to keep up the writing?
Yes. I will say that my biggest supporters for as far as my career is my mom and my dad and my grandmother. The 3 of them, I love them so dearly because constantly, time after time, they would push me to do more. They all, even with MSA, going to MSA, my mom definitely had some not reservations, but
it's fair too. I'm a mother. I get it.
Right. She was sending her baby off and at the age that I was going, but she made sure that I was able to try. She's always sending me programs. She's always sending me different events and stuff like that. She's always been hands-on. And she's never ever doubted me either. And I think that's what is the most important thing, is to always encourage and never divert attention away from the end goal,
What is the end goal?
The end goal, well, writing. Yeah. Going into writing, whatever that means, is whether that's publishing, whether that's writing your own book, whether that's teaching. Being in that realm is so important. It's just really important.
And still having people to explore those creative thinking too. I think Dr. Smith is very important. You mentioned some of the other real applications. I can sit here and name lots of places where I feel like the creative writer, creative thinker would fit in perfectly. That may not look like what you would think it would. How can people get more information on, obviously, the scholarship? Going back to that, it's a full ride, the Angie Thomas Scholarship, but then too just the different offerings there at Belhaven University.
So 2 things. I would suggest getting in contact with the admission department at Belhaven and they can look on the admission page, they can email, they can call. But very important coming up, which is going to be on November the 14th, or when is it? November the 7th, is our Arts Discover Day at Belhaven. And that's a visit day for students. They can come and they can be exposed to all the arts and the majors in one day, and they get a $1,000 scholarship for coming
Y'all just
on a
giving
visit
out
that
money.
day. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, thank you so much. I know the deadline is November the 14th. All the information's online. Imani, when you have that first publication, you coming back to release it here?
Oh, 100%.
All right. I'm going to hold you to it. All right, you guys stick with this. We got Movies with Tanya coming up next.